40,000 concurrent players, 100 million visits, 300,000 Discord members. But this didn't come out of nowhere. Let me take you back to where Anime Final Quest and Cell Games actually started. We are going all the way back to October 2024. This was the time I decided to make my first Roblox game. I had a small and simple idea in mind. I was recently playing a game called Reborn as Swordsman, and I really liked it. The game was simple and fun to play. You train on dummies, fight bosses, and as the game goes on, you progress into harder worlds. This was the concept I wanted to make, except I didn't want something very generic. I wanted a bigger map, an arena where people could fight, parkour elements, and cutscenes. Basically, I wanted to take the same concept and make something better out of it. Now that my idea was ready, all I needed to do was start the project. So I created a new Roblox baseplate and quickly realized I was missing something important. I was only a 3D modeler and builder. I didn't know scripting, animation, or VFX. So I realized I needed a team to help me create this game, and that was also the biggest issue. I contacted an old friend of mine, somebody I'd worked with in an old Roblox team. I told him about the idea and the project, and he thought it sounded promising. Things didn't go as planned though. Sadly, due to school and university commitments, he couldn't continue working on the project, and I had to find another person. So I asked another friend of mine and eventually met a different scripter. He was much more passionate about the project, and around that time I also met an animator who could handle the animations for the game. The game was going well. Animations were being made, I was building the maps and models, and our scripter was working on the systems. There was a problem though. My current scripter started becoming slower and slower as the days went on, and I realized the project might take much longer than expected. Then, out of nowhere, he texted me saying he couldn't continue the project anymore, for the same reason as the previous scripter. School was limiting the time he could spend on it. I was practically lost. The game was around 40% finished and I had no scripter. The animator and I were basically sitting there wondering what we were supposed to do next. I was falling into an empty void. I kept trying and trying for months to find another scripter for the game, but I had no luck. Nobody seemed interested in the project. I was honestly about to give up. Until one day my friend Burke texted me on Discord and invited to call me. The conversation started normally until he asked how my project was going. I told him it was going really badly, that I had lost my scripter and didn't know what to do anymore. Then, completely randomly, he told me he was in a group chat with 2 scripters who wanted to make a game but couldn't find a team. At that moment, it felt like the puzzle pieces were finally coming together. It was such random yet perfect timing. I told him it would be amazing if I could meet them, and shortly after, I was added to the group chat and met Tomates and Part. I explained the game to them as best as I could, and they said the project sounded good for a first game, but I wanted a change. The version we had built with my previous scripter was fine for a first project, but it wasn't really me. I wanted something bigger, crazier, so I suggested completely redoing the game with my new team. Luckily, they agreed. This stage was pretty much hell. We started all the way from scratch. We didn't want a normal simulator anymore. We wanted something that mixed RPG and simulator elements together. More enemies, dummies, final bosses, PvP, PvE. It had so many ideas and so much potential. The problem was that while the ideas were good, the actual result wasn't. Eventually we realized we had 2 choices. Either restart again and lose all our progress, or finish a game that we didn't even like ourselves and knew wouldn't do well. My friend and scripter Tomates called me that day. It was 4 a.m. and neither of us could sleep. We both were sitting on our balconies. We were pretty much lost. Either redo everything and lose all the progress, or release a bad game with no community. We decided to take the risk. We made the decision to turn the game into an anime dungeon fighter, and that is when it was born. And that was also the first step into creating Cell Games. The next day we had a meeting. Me, Tomates, Part, and our animator. I started the call by saying, "Guys, I have to announce that the balcony call with Tomates made some changes. We decided to redo the whole game." Surprisingly, everybody was okay with it. Deep down, they knew the game wasn't good enough either. So we started fresh once again, a new combat system, new NPC systems, higher quality maps, better VFX, better cutscenes. And slowly, Anime Final Quest started taking shape. We were so proud and happy of the progress. It was way faster since we had way more experience from then on. At this point, we were fully locked in. It was December 2025, and we were only 10 days away from releasing Anime Final Quest. All the hard work, all the months of development, all the sleepless nights, all the stressful moments where we wondered whether the game would succeed or completely flop. It all came down to this moment. For months, we dreamed about how big the game could become. Then, the day finally arrived. On December 12th, we released Anime Final Quest. It was easily the most stressful day of our lives, but it was also the day that changed everything. The day that created Cell Games. And now, we're here, as Cell Games. Of course, we put in a lot of work to get to this point, but without the support from all of you, we honestly never would have made it this far. Every player who joined the game, every person who supported us, every content creator who made a video, and everyone who believed in us helped make this possible. I truly appreciate all of you, and I can't thank you enough for supporting both me and my team throughout this journey. We'll continue doing our best to create the best experiences we can, and I promise we'll keep pushing forward and improving with every project we make. Thank you all so much for being part of this journey, and I'll keep doing my best for as long as I can.